Nautical Tales and Nature Trails, Recreation in Southeastern Connecticut and Southern Rhode Island, is pleased to welcome you to another fun-filled episode. Enjoy the show.
Ahoy there, and welcome to Nautical Tales and Nature Trails, Recreation in Southeastern Connecticut and Southern Rhode Island. My name's Will Morrissey. I'm the host for the show. You saw that my wife, Bridget, is the producer. She races up and down the shoreline. She's a realtor, taking care of people from Old Lyme to Charlestown. She zigzags from Mystic to Mashantucket to up to Ledyard and Preston, and she's all over the area, and she knows all the back roads because she hates driving on I-95, but can you blame her? But driving all these back roads, she knows all the different attractions in the area. And so a couple of years ago, we decided to write a book, Nautical Tales and Nature Trails, to help all those people moving into the area, whether they're building submarines or the brave souls that are driving the submarines. We got students at Mitchell College, Connecticut College, UConn at Avery Point, got the cadets at the United States Coast Guard Academy. So many people moving into the area that don't realize what a gold mine of attractions we have here. And today we're going to be moving over towards Waterford, and we're going to be talking about the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center. And we've got Rob Mooney here with us today. Rob, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Rob, how did you get involved with theater and the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center?
I mean, the short version is I was an actor once upon a time, and when I realized after about 6 months that wasn't really paying the bills in the way that I hoped it would, I got into theater administration. I started off my career at the Public Theater in New York City, bounced around to a different few off-Broadway houses for a dozen years, and then in 2019, I started at the O'Neill as the Director of Development. I'm now the Director of External Relations, which means I oversee both marketing and fundraising for the entire organization.
Well, doing the homework to get ready for this show, I was so surprised. I mean, I've been to the O'Neill. You've hosted Chamber of Commerce events and the like, so I've been through it and didn't realize how involved you are with putting on productions, getting production started and going from there and ending up on Broadway with Tony Awards.
Yeah, it is. It is a real hive of activity, especially right now. Our summer season officially starts tomorrow with the National Puppetry Conference, which is now in its 35th year. And then we'll go from the two performances this weekend right into the National Playwrights Conference, which starts next week. We have 4 plays we will be developing over the course of a month. Then we move into the National Music Theater Conference, where we will have 2 musicals that we'll be developing over a number of weeks. And then we will end on the Cabaret and Performance Conference, which is one of our most popular conferences, in the last 2 weeks of July. During that time, we will also host the National Critics Institute, which is the second oldest of the O'Neill's programs and is run by a gentleman from the Chicago Tribune. And that will overlap with both the Playwrights Conference and the Music Theater Conference.
Well, I want to hear a little bit more about that, as we get into it. But we've got a video that kind of explains what some of these productions are and how they came about. So,
great.
Hey, Michael, if we can run those, that'd be great.
The Eugene O'Neill Theater Center is named for America's only Nobel Prize-winning playwright and former New London resident. The center has become a launchpad for American theater, pioneering play development and stage readings, and nurturing now famous playwrights and actors. In the Heights is a landmark Broadway musical with music and lyrics by Lin-Manuel Miranda and a book by Chiara Alegria Hudes. The show is both a romance and a celebration of community, set over 3 days in Washington Heights, a largely Dominican-American neighborhood in Upper Manhattan. It weaves together stories of ambition, love, and cultural identity, blending hip-hop, salsa, merengue, and soul music to create a vibrant and groundbreaking score. The musical began as a college project while Miranda was at Wesleyan University, and after years of development, including a pivotal 2005 tryout at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center in Waterford, Connecticut, it premiered off-Broadway in 2007. O'Neill's support was instrumental in shaping the show, providing a collaborative environment for Miranda and his team to refine the material. In the Heights transferred to Broadway in March 2008, where it was nominated for 13 Tony Awards and won 4, including Best Musical and Best Original Score. August Wilson had a significant and formative connection to the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center in Waterford, Connecticut. The O'Neill's National Playwrights Conference was instrumental in launching Wilson's career and shaping his development as one of America's foremost playwrights. Wilson's breakthrough came when his play Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was accepted by the National Playwrights Conference in 1982. This opportunity gave him the chance to develop his work in a supportive, creative environment, working with directors, dramaturgs, and actors in intensive workshops that culminated in public readings. The O'Neill's workshop model, pioneered by founder George C. White and artistic director Lloyd Richards, provided Wilson with crucial mentorship and exposure. Wilson himself described the O'Neill as a place where writers could fail and your work will still be honored, a space that valued artistic risk and experimentation. His experience at the O'Neill helped him refine his voice and led to the creation of his celebrated Pittsburgh cycle of plays, several of which, including Fences and The Piano Lesson, were developed or premiered through the National Playwrights Conference. Over the years, Wilson returned to the O'Neill, further cementing his legacy with the institution. His work and mentorship at the O'Neill have inspired generations of playwrights, and the theater continues to be recognized for its role in fostering groundbreaking American drama. Avenue Q is a Tony Award-winning musical that was developed at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center in Waterford, Connecticut, during the 2002 National Music Theater Conference. The show features music and lyrics by Robert Lopez and Jeff Marks, with a book by Jeff Whitty. It blends live actors and puppets to tell the story of Princeton, a recent college graduate trying to find his purpose in life while living on a fictional street in New York City. After its workshop at the O'Neill, Avenue Q premiered off-Broadway at the Vineyard Theater in March 2003, then transferred to Broadway's John Golden Theater in July 2003. The musical became a surprise hit, running for 2,534 performances on Broadway before moving to off-Broadway's New World stages in 2009, where it continued to enjoy success. Avenue Q won the Tony Award for Best Musical in 2004 and has since been produced internationally. The O'Neill's role in nurturing Avenue Q highlights its importance as an incubator for innovative American musical theater. 9 is a celebrated Broadway musical based on the semi-autobiographical film 8½, by Federico Fellini. The show features music and lyrics by Maury Yeston and a book by Arthur Kopit. The story follows Italian film director Guido Contini as he struggles to balance his personal life and creative vision while surrounded by the women who have influenced him. The musical was developed at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center's National Music Theater Conference in the early 1980s, where it underwent workshops and readings that helped shape its final form. After its time at the O'Neill, 9 premiered on Broadway at the 46th Street Theater, now the Richard Rodgers Theater, in May 1982, starring Raul Julia as Guido. 9 was a critical and commercial success, winning 5 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. The show has enjoyed several revivals, including a 2003 Broadway revival starring Antonio Banderas and a 2009 film adaptation directed by Rob Marshall. The O'Neill's role in nurturing 9 highlights the center's importance as a launchpad for groundbreaking musical theater. Andrew Lippa's The Wild Party is a bold and exhilarating musical, with book, music, and lyrics all crafted by Lippa himself. Inspired by Joseph Moncure March's 1928 narrative poem, the show was first nurtured at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center's National Music Theater Conference in 1997, where it benefited from the O'Neill's signature collaborative environment for developing new works. After its formative development in Waterford, The Wild Party made its public debut off-Broadway at the Manhattan Theater Club in February 2000, under the direction of Gabriel Barre and choreography by Mark Dendy. The production featured a standout cast, including Julia Murney as Queenie, Brian Darcy James as Burrs, Idina Menzel as Kate, and Taye Diggs as Mr. Black. The musical centers on the volatile love triangle between Queenie, Burrs, and Mr. Black, set against the backdrop of a riotous Prohibition-era party. With a jazz-infused score and a tone that perfectly captures the decadence and excess of the Roaring Twenties, The Wild Party is both a sizzling night of entertainment and a sharp exploration of passion and betrayal. Praised for its vibrant music and compelling storytelling, The Wild Party earned critical acclaim, a Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Music, and multiple additional nominations. It has since been embraced by theaters across the United States and internationally, cementing its place as a modern classic in American musical theater. The O'Neill is proud of its contributions to the National Playwrights Conference, National Musical Theater Conference, National Puppetry Conference, and National Theater Institute, as well as 2 Tony Awards and the National Medal of Arts.
Well, that's a lot of Tony Awards coming from just a few productions there. You know, how do you, you're going to tell us a little bit later after we run another video about the actual programs that you have, but the facility itself, can you tell us a little bit about the facility, the barn, the theater productions and everything you've got going on there?
Sure. So the O'Neill is on 11 acres of 90 acres of town-owned property. We lease our property from the town of Waterford, and it was originally a gentleman's farm, read a place for rich people to come up and pretend to be farmers in the late 1800s. And the mansion, the Hammond Mansion, which is where we have our administrative offices, in the early 60s, it's perched up on this hill that you can see when you're going past Waterford Beach. And our founder, George White, and his wife Betsy and his father were sailing by, and George had asked his father what they were going to do with this rundown old mansion at the top of the hill, and his dad told him that the town was going to use it for fire practice. And rather than do that, George talked them into letting him start a theater on the property, and it consisted of that mansion, an old dairy barn, a small farmhouse, and some other outbuildings. And several of those have since become our main performance spaces. So now we have the Hammond Mansion, we have the Rose Barn, which is named for Rufus and Margot Rose, who are, for those of you who go back this far, the people who created Howdy Doody. They were from Waterford. And so it is intentionally created to house our puppetry performances. We also have the Dina Merrill Theater, which is named for our late trustee and actress Dina Merrill. That is where we house where we host, I should say, a lot of our plays, musicals, and cabaret performances. And there is also the Edith Oliver Theater, which is named for the O'Neill's original dramaturg and theater critic Edith Oliver. It was originally called the Instant Theater because it is just a stage set outside where the idea was that you could make any sort of theater you want. And then we also have our outdoor amphitheater space, which was dug out many, many years ago by then little known, now very known actor Michael Douglas, who is continues to be on our board of directors to this day. So we program a whole host of things in all of these different spaces. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention everybody's favorite Watering Hole Blue Jeans Pub, which also, when it was originally started, served as the space for our cabaret. Then it was called Cabaret Symposium, has since become the Cabaret and Performance Conference. But there is any number of places you can play, and if you come to the O'Neill in the height of summer, you will see any number of artists walking around, along with the students from our National Theater Institute summer program called Theater Makers. So we really try to create an environment where any number of people can cross paths and share ideas and create new works of theater. It's an incredibly busy time for the 10 weeks between Memorial Day and the middle of August, but it's a really exciting time to be there. It's really energizing and it's very fun.
Wow. Well, I'm 3 days older than dirt, and I remember it's howdy doody time.
Yeah.
It's howdy doody time.
Yep.
Well, it is quite a facility. I have been there, and We've got a little video to show folks. You've got a lot of programs going on, so why don't we take a look at the names of these programs, and you can explain a little bit after we take a look here.
Sure.
You mentioned the National Playwrights Conference. Hey, what do you get, 4 or 5 submissions a year?
We got a little over 1,600 submissions last year, which is a new record. It's been slowly increasing every year, but yeah, we've got, that's just for the Playwrights Conference. We also got, I want to say, a little over 420 musicals sent to us last fall.
So how do you go through these and help people, how do you narrow it down to the ones you want to really work on?
Well, we employ what amounts to a small army of readers who each are given a selection of 5 to 10 plays to start with. They read through them start to finish, and are given a rubric to provide their feedback about the play they've read, what they think about it, and give it a score that tells our literary department whether or not they think it should be given a second read. So there is a huge first round of read that happens to get through all 1,600 of those plays. There is another smaller but still large second round of reading that happens. And then it eventually gets whittled down to, I want to say that this year we had a little over 90 or 100 finalists, which we released, I want to say, in the second or third week of April. And which that in and of itself for us has become a bit of a big deal. If you can make it to that top 100 number of scripts as a finalist, it says something about the play itself. And then a very small group of people, our executive director, our literary team, our line producer, the artistic director of the conference, Melia Ben-Susan, they have a weekly book club meeting, basically, where they read through all of the scripts that they're considering for the conference, and they narrow it down to anywhere from 4 to 8 selections for the summer out of 1,600.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a process.
Yeah.
Is it this pretty much the same thing with the music theater conference?
It's a pretty similar process. The pool of readers is much smaller, but that's because musicals are a different beast than plays and require a bit of a different know-how, but it is still essentially the same process. There's a first round read and listen because they send us demos of musical tracks for their musical, and then it goes through a slow whittling down of things until we get to the 2 or 3 we'll do in the summer.
Now, you also have a puppetry kind of thing with Jim Henson.
We do.
Well,
so our relationship,
at least his name.
well, our relationship with the Henson family goes back many, many years. Thanks to Rufus and Margot Rose, who because in the 70s they brought a young Jim and Jane Henson up to the O'Neill to work on a project, and they sort of stayed after that. And in 1990. Jane Henson made the first gift to start the National Puppetry Conference, which, as I said in the beginning, is now in its 35th year. But it is really the kickoff to our summer season. It takes place over 2 weeks. There is what we call a pre-conference and a main conference, and the pre-conference is really for folks who are newer to the art of puppetry performance. So they get a chance to come and learn some basic skills about manipulating marionettes, for example, or manipulating found objects, or how to create things like hand puppets or sock puppets, or voice work, that kind of thing. And then main conference is slightly a step further beyond that, where they spend their time during the week creating a new piece of puppet theater based on their particular strand, which is what we call them. It's sort of a learning track that they're on. So some folks do movement, some folks do marionette construction, some folks do marionette manipulation. We have several master teaching artists who come from all over the world. This year, I think we at least have France represented, I know that, and Germany at our conference this year. And they spend the week teaching 100 some odd puppeteers how to hone their craft, and then on the weekend, this Friday and this Saturday, they will perform those for a paying audience.
It's amazing what has to go into a production, before it's actually performed.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you buy a ticket, go in, you watch, it's 2 hours, you're out, No, it takes a long time to put one of these together.
It does, and the thing about coming to the O'Neill is that you are seeing, one of our longtime supporters always says that, he's been a Broadway producer for a very long time, and says that on Broadway we tend to see the last 10% of a show's journey. Where at the O'Neill, you're experiencing the first 10%. All of the plays and musicals that you will see at the O'Neill, none of them have ever had a professional production. Oftentimes, they're being read in front of an audience for the very first time, the first time an audience walks in there. And the beautiful thing about the O'Neill, and that we've been doing this for so long, and I was telling this to you earlier, is that these audiences have been doing this for so long. They really know what they're getting into when they walk into a theater and see nothing but chairs and music stands, because that's all we use. There's no costumes, there's no real lighting, there's no sound effects, any of that kind of stuff. It is just the actors and what the writer has given them for that day. And the audience plays a real crucial role in that when you come, your response to whatever you are seeing on stage will help the writers, who are often somewhere in the room. They're sitting in the back, or maybe they're sitting in the corner hoping no one will see them. The audience responses to their work helps them go away and make changes to the script even in between performances. So it is not uncommon to see the same show but see a different show multiple times at the O'Neill. Okay. And that's the same goes with the music theater conferences. I always tell a story about this musical that was written by Benjamin Velez, who just had a Tony-nominated musical on Broadway, and his writing partner Ariana Garber, who had a musical called Borderline. And between performances 2 and 3, they went away and wrote an entirely different opening number for the second act, which during intermission, the cast had to scuttle off to go rehearse because they'd just gotten the song that morning. And then there was another show that summer, there was another musical that summer where there was a song in Act 2 that at the first performance, it was a bit of a ballad. They didn't think it was working. The audience didn't seem to think it was working. And so for performance number 2, they tried to take it up and make it up-tempo, make it more of a pop song. Still was not working. So by performance 3, the song was no longer a part of Act 2. They just took it out altogether. Things like that happen all the time in the plays and musical conferences. If you go from start to finish, if you go from the Playwrights Conference to the Cabaret and Performance Conference, you go from programming that is a little more education-based. We're teaching people how to do this craft, to a little to more heavily performance-based with the Cabaret and Performance Conference. And the plays and musicals sort of sit in between, in that the writers are learning something about the piece they're putting up on the stage, but it is more focused on the performance as a component of the development of the script or musical that they're working on.
Well, we like to, it's always a nonprofit that's coming in here to be on SEC TV. And we like to ask people if they can donate to the different things. We've got a little video about donations if you want to help out the Eugene O'Neill Theater.
The Eugene O'Neill Theater Center is a launch pad for new theatrical work and a multidisciplinary haven for theater artists to return to throughout their careers to engage in collaborative risk-taking. Our idyllic, expansive Waterford, Connecticut campus hums year-round with activity, from our flagship summer conferences to our semester-based training programs. Your gift today helps us cultivate today's most promising theater makers and create a more diverse, inclusive American theater. Join us in writing the next act of the American theater today. Thank you for your support.
Yes, you can make a donation by going to theo'neill.org, but Bridget wanted to make one today.
Okay.
And it's a little different, and I'm bringing this up so you can see it on TV. But it is a play that Eugene O'Neill wrote, A Touch of the Poet. It was at Helen Hayes Theater many, many years ago. Well, Eugene O'Neill was around many, many years ago, too.
That is true. I don't know that Helen Hayes Theater is even there anymore.
But we wanted you to have this, and you and your group for all you do.
Thank you so much. This actually, this will look great in. Let me put it up here. This will look great in the Monte Cristo Cottage, which some folks know, but not a lot of folks do. Which is Eugene O'Neill's boyhood home. The reason we are connected
to him.
It's
in New London.
It's in New London on Pequot Avenue. And it's where he and his family spent his summers. It's where two of his most famous plays, Long Day's Journey into Night and Ah Wilderness, are set. You can tour it if you would like, which is a bit of a surreal experience, because if there's anything you will learn about Eugene O'Neill is that he was very particular about his stage directions. So if you read the opening stage directions to Long Day's Journey into Night, it will describe the room around you as you are standing there. It's a very cool thing if you're a theater history buff. But we own and operate it as a house museum and also as an archive for every script that's ever been through the O'Neill.
When is it open?
It's right now it's open by appointment. We're having some work done on the exterior, but we try to keep it open for a few hours a week, just so if anybody wants to pop on through. But the information is on our website about how you can book an appointment.
How about the center itself? Is that open to the public to come at any time? Is it?
It is technically on a public park, so we have people walk through all hours of the day, walking their dogs and that kind of thing. But we're there pretty much round the clock lately. But our box office is open either online or via phone during the day from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It is also open in person 2 hours before every performance. Blue Jeans Pub is open. What are the hours on Blue Jeans? We are open from 5 to 11, Tuesday through Saturday, and
That's
1 to 6.
That's the one that used to be Cabaret Pub?
That's the one where Cabaret used to be. It's if you come to campus, it's the little log cabin. It's the first thing that greets you right when you come in. So you can't miss it. But come have a drink, hang out, see a show, just walk on through. It's a beautiful place to be in the summertime. Right? We're very close to Waterford Beach. Yeah, it's if you go straight instead of turning right, you will come to us. If you turn right, you will go down to the beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the time goes by so fast, Rob. And I know you have so much to talk about, but
we do. I didn't even get to our educational programming.
Is that on the website?
It is on the website, which is theo'neill.org. There is also the National Theater Institute.org, which is our it's a semester-based training program. So we have students there in the fall and in the spring, and then for 6 weeks in the summer for theater makers. And it is effectively a theater boot camp for undergraduate students who want to do a study abroad but not go abroad. They come here to Waterford and they stay on campus for, I want to say our semesters are 13 weeks now. They work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. They learn how to make theater. They get trained in acting, directing, voice, movement. We also have the National Music Theater Institute, which is specifically training musical theater students. And then what I think is really special about theater makers, which you can also come see during the summer on Mondays. It's free performances. But those students are here for 6 weeks. They are devising new pieces of theater every week, and the special thing for them is that they get to do that alongside the working professionals who are there for the Playwrights Conference and for the Music Theater Conference and for the Cabaret and Performance Conference. So for students who are really jazzed about trying to make it in this business, it's a great opportunity for them to meet people. And surprisingly, they get to do it in this little corner of Connecticut. Everybody likes to say we're their best kept secret, and I would like us to be less of a secret. So go tell your friends.
There you go. Well, the Tony Awards are like the Oscar Awards. It's like the MVP.
They were just this last weekend.
It's a big deal, and a lot of them have come about because of the O'Neill.
Yes.
Well, again, we're out of time. Rob, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you at the next one.